The Galactic Assassins Guild headquarters floated in the empty space between two dying stars. Most species found the location unnerving. The radiation alone would kill unshielded visitors in minutes. Guildmaster Vexora considered this an effective first test for potential clients. Inside the main chamber, the walls displayed swirling patterns of light that most species found hypnotic. Vexora, with 6 eye stalks and skin that shifted colors with mood, currently displayed a troubled purple. As Director Zixtal's hologram finished speaking. "Your hesitation is unexpected, Guildmaster," said Zixtal, the Insectoid Alliance Intelligence Director. "The fee has been doubled from our standard arrangement." Vexora's skin rippled. "The target is human, a Deathworlder." "A diplomatic aide," corrected Zixtal. "Jack Carter, not a warrior or security officer. He arranges meeting rooms and translates documents." "Species classification remains relevant," Vexora countered. 3 of our top operatives failed to return from Deathworlder contracts last cycle. The display changed to show a human male. Jack Carter stood about 6 feet tall with brown hair and a lean build. Nothing remarkable by human standards. 2. Most galactic species, he looked like a walking disaster of evolutionary choices. Exposed skin, limited sensory organs, and a fragile-seeming frame. "He witnessed a meeting that did not happen," said Zixtal. "Between myself and certain Dorvan representatives. The humans must not learn of these discussions." "The Dorvan Collective?" Vexora's skin flashed orange with surprise. "They seek to overthrow the Alliance." "Your political opinions are not relevant to this contract," Zixtal said coldly. "Will the Guild accept, or must I seek other services?" Vexora considered the options. Refusing meant losing Zixtal's future business, which represented significant credits. Accepting meant risking another operative against a Deathworlder. "The Guild accepts with mandatory hazard pricing," Vexora finally said. "Triple the standard fee." "Agreed," Zixtal said without hesitation, confirming Vexora's suspicion that the director was desperate. "I expect confirmation within 15 standard cycles." After the transmission ended, Vexora activated the Guild's operative database. The system displayed potential assassins filtered for experience with dangerous targets. One name rose to the top: Mevlak, a Sylph operative with an unblemished record. Sylphs made excellent assassins. With naturally camouflaging skin, flexible bone structures that allowed them to fit through small spaces, and heightened senses, they specialized in infiltration and silent elimination. Mevlak had completed 87 contracts across 12 star systems, without a single failure. Vexora sent the mission details and waited. A response came within minutes. "I accept the contract." Mevlak's voice was soft but confident. "You understand the target is human?" asked Vexora. "Yes, and you are familiar with Deathworlder physiology?" "I have studied their weaknesses," Mevlak replied. "Their reliance on oxygen, their limited sensory range, their need for regular hydration." Vexora's skin darkened. "Do not underestimate them. Their weaknesses are balanced by unexpected strengths. They evolved on a world that tried to kill them daily. Their bodies are built for survival." "All beings can die," said Mevlak simply. "Before you depart, review the records of Tinzar, Volox, and Iptha. All experienced operatives. All failed against human targets." "I will study their mistakes," promised Mevlak. After the communication ended, Vexora felt an unfamiliar sensation. The Guildmaster realized it was worry. Mevlak was their best operative, but humans had proven unexpectedly resilient. On Nexus Station, Jack Carter finished another boring day of diplomatic work. The space station served as neutral ground for hundreds of species. As an aide to the YI, Earth ambassador, Jack spent most days translating documents, arranging meeting rooms, and making sure visiting humans didn't accidentally offend alien dignitaries. Jack rubbed his tired eyes. The station kept lighting at levels comfortable for most species, which meant it was always too dim for human comfort. His apartment wasn't much better. Environmental controls designed for multiple species meant it was always slightly too cold. "Carter." A friendly voice called from down the curved hallway. Jack turned to see Ambassador Alan Powell walking toward him, followed by a floating translation drone. "Sir?" Jack nodded respectfully. "Good work on the Zentari trade proposal," Powell said. Their representative actually commented on how clear the translation was. "Thank you, sir. I've been studying their dialect patterns." Powell lowered his voice. "Listen, something odd happened yesterday. I was called to an emergency meeting, but when I arrived, nobody was there. Security shows no record of who sent the message." Jack frowned. "That's strange. Want me to look into it?" No. Just be extra careful with communications for a while. There's something going on with the Dwarven representatives. I've seen them meeting with people they shouldn't be." "Like who?" Powell looked around. "Intelligence types, Alliance officials who should know better. Just keep your eyes open." "Will do, sir." As Powell walked away, Jack didn't think much about the conversation. Strange things happened on a station with hundreds of different species all trying to conduct diplomatic business. Security glitches were common. He entered his small apartment and tossed his datapad onto the desk. The room was basic: a sleep pod, hygiene station, cooking unit, and small living area. Luxury wasn't a priority on a station where space was precious. Jack ordered dinner from the station's food service and settled in to watch the latest entertainment broadcast from Earth. Some comedy about a human living on an alien world. The jokes about environmental suits and contamination protocols hit close to home. Unknown to Jack, he was being watched. From 6 levels up, through specialized equipment that penetrated the station's walls, Mivlak observed the humans' routines. The Sylph assassin had arrived on Nexus Station 3 days earlier, disguised as a merchant specializing in earth goods. The disguise provided perfect cover for asking questions about humans. Aliens were often curious about Deathworlders, and Mevlak learned much by simply listening to their stories and theories. "Their skin regenerates constantly," a Centaurian trader had explained over drinks. "Not just from small wounds, they can regrow significant amounts of tissue. Their bones are reinforced with calcium deposits," added a Vexnar doctor, "almost like natural armor inside their bodies. It's their mind that makes them dangerous," whispered an old Kalatax pilot. "They evolved alongside predators. They think like hunters even when they're merchants or diplomats." Mevlak absorbed this information but remained confident. Every species had weaknesses. Humans needed oxygen. Their sensory range was limited. Their society valued individual lives, making them predictable in dangerous situations. The assassin continued watching as Jack prepared for sleep. The human's predictable schedule would make the job easier. Mevlak had already acquired the necessary toxin, specially calibrated for human physiology. Tomorrow, Jack Carter would receive a package, a gift from a cultural exchange program. Inside would be a bottle of human alcohol infused with enough poison to kill most species 3 times over. For a human, it should be enough to ensure death before medical help could arrive. As Jack finally settled into his sleep pod, he had no idea that he was being hunted, or that his status as a Deathworlder was about to be tested in the most extreme way possible. Jack Carter woke to the soft chime of his morning alarm. The station's artificial day cycle had begun, lighting gradually increasing to simulate sunrise. He stretched, feeling the familiar ache in his back from the sleep pod designed for multiple species but perfect for none. His communication device blinked with a message. A package had arrived for him at the station's delivery center. Jack frowned. He wasn't expecting anything. After his morning routine, Jack headed to the central hub of Nexus Station. The wide corridor bustled with alien life forms of all shapes and sizes. Tall, willowy Aldarians glided past squat Burians who shuffled along on short legs. Environmental suits protected species who couldn't breathe the station's standard atmosphere. At the delivery center, a bored-looking Zelian clerk processed his identification. "Package for Jack Carter," the clerk said, placing a small box on the counter. "Cultural exchange program." Jack examined the box. "I didn't sign up for any exchange program." The clerk's 4 eyes blinked in sequence. "Many Earth organizations send gifts to diplomatic personnel, builds goodwill. Jack shrugged and took the package. It was light, about the size of his hand. The label read, Traditional Earth Refreshments, Cultural Exchange Initiative. Later in his office, Jack opened the box. Inside was a bottle of what appeared to be whiskey, amber liquid glowing in the station's artificial light. A small note card read, A taste of home for those serving far from Earth. Jack placed the bottle on his shelf. He rarely drank, especially not during work hours, but it might be nice for a special occasion. Unknown to Jack, Mevlak watched through specialized surveillance equipment. The Sylph assassin had planted microscopic monitoring devices throughout Jack's quarters and office. Now Mevlak waited for the human to consume the poisoned drink. While waiting, Mevlak continued studying humans. The assassin sat in a popular station restaurant called Galaxy Tastes, which served food from different worlds. The table next to Mevlak was occupied by a human security officer and her Tevlaran partner. I don't understand how you eat that, the Tevlaran was saying, pointing at the human's meal. It contains capsaicin, a literal defense chemical plants evolved to prevent being eaten. The human woman laughed. Yeah, but it tastes good, gives food a kick. Your species deliberately seeks out pain for pleasure. Not pain exactly, more like intensity. Keeps things interesting. Mevlak found this exchange fascinating. Humans intentionally consumed mild toxins for enjoyment. Their tolerance for substances that would harm other species was remarkable. The assassin had accounted for this when preparing the poison. The dose was much higher than would be needed for any other species. In another part of the station, Jack met with Ambassador Powell to discuss the day's schedule. 3 meetings today, Jack said, reviewing his datapad. The Zentari trade delegation at midday, then the Aldarian cultural attaché, and finally a private meeting with the Burian ambassador. Powell nodded. Add one more. Director Zixtal from Alliance Intelligence wants to meet informally. No record, just a quick chat. Jack raised an eyebrow. That's unusual. What's it about? Didn't say. Probably just routine security checks. They do that sometimes when there's increased Dorvan activity. Speaking of unusual, Jack said, I received a bottle of whiskey this morning from a cultural exchange program. Ever heard of such a thing? Powell frowned. No, there's no official exchange program I know of. Be careful with that. Have security. Scan it first. Good idea, Jack agreed. Better safe than sorry. As Jack went about his day, Mevlak continued monitoring the human. The assassin was growing impatient but remained professional. Many targets were cautious with unexpected gifts. If Jack sent the bottle for scanning, the plan would need adjustment. During lunch, Jack met with Lisa Simmons, the human security officer Mevlak had observed earlier. They had become friends during their time on the station, both appreciating the rare chance to talk with another human. So, what's new? Lisa asked, sitting across from Jack in the cafeteria. Got a strange package today. A bottle of whiskey from some cultural exchange program. Lisa's eyes narrowed. What exchange program? That's what I asked. Powell hadn't heard of it either. I'm going to have your team scan it. Smart move, Lisa said. We've had some security concerns lately. Unusual access attempts to restricted areas, communications being rerouted. Anything serious? Not yet, but better to be careful. Lisa took a bite of her food. How are the diplomatic meetings going? Any interesting aliens lately? Jack laughed. Just the usual. Though I did see Zixtal talking to some Dorvan representatives last week. In the unused conference room on level 12. Zixtal and the Dorvans? Lisa frowned. That's odd. Alliance Intelligence doesn't officially interact with them after that military buildup on their border. It was probably nothing, Jack said, though. He remembered how quickly they had separated when he entered the room. After lunch, Jack dropped off the whiskey bottle at security for scanning. Mevlak, watching through the security feed the assassin had hacked, realized the plan needed to change. The Sylph assassin returned to its temporary quarters and opened a secure communication channel to Guildmaster Vexora. The target is cautious, Mevlak reported. The poison will be detected. Vexora's image flickered. Adapt your approach. What have you learned about the target? He is observant. Has connections to station security. Follows safety protocols. Typical Deathworlder behavior, Vexora said. They survived on their world by being constantly alert to threats. I have a new plan, Mevlak said. Environmental adjustment. Humans require specific atmospheric conditions. Vexora's skin darkened. Be careful with that approach. Humans can survive in conditions that would kill most species. I have studied their limitations. They require oxygen between certain percentages. I will alter his quarters' environmental controls tonight. Mevlak spent the rest of the day preparing. The assassin needed special tools to bypass the station's safety systems. Fortunately, the black market on Nexus Station provided everything necessary. A dealer in the lower levels sold Mevlak an environmental override device, designed for engineering, emergencies but perfect for assassination. As the station's day cycle ended, Jack returned to his quarters tired from a long day of meetings. He didn't notice the nearly invisible device attached to his environmental control panel. The whiskey bottle had been cleared by security and sat unopened on his shelf. Jack prepared for sleep, unaware that the oxygen levels in his room were slowly being decreased. Mevlak waited nearby, monitoring the human's vital signs through the surveillance devices. According to Mevlak's research, humans became unconscious when oxygen levels dropped below 15%. Death followed when levels reached around 8%. The plan was simple. Reduce oxygen gradually so the human wouldn't notice until he lost consciousness. But as the oxygen level reached 16%, something unexpected happened. Jack frowned and looked around his room. He walked to the environmental panel and examined it carefully. Something's not right, he muttered to himself. Mevlak watched in surprise as Jack took a small device from his drawer, a personal atmospheric analyzer, standard equipment for humans on space stations, but Mevlak hadn't anticipated he would use it routinely. Jack's eyes widened as he saw the reading. He immediately pressed the emergency button on his communication device. Security, this is Jack. Carter. I have an environmental system malfunction, oxygen levels dropping in my quarters. Mevlak abandoned the operation, quickly retreating before security arrived. The assassin needed a new plan. This human was proving more difficult than expected. In the station's security center, Lisa Simmons received Jack's alert. First, a suspicious package, now an environmental failure. This was no coincidence. Someone's trying to kill our diplomat, she told her Tevlaran partner. And I want to know who. Lisa Simmons stood in Jack's quarters, scanning the environmental system with a handheld device. The room was now filled with station security personnel. Jack sat on his sleep pod, looking tired but alert. This was deliberate, Lisa said, showing Jack the small device she had removed from his wall panel. Someone overrode your environmental controls to reduce oxygen levels. Who would want to kill me? Jack asked. I'm just a diplomatic aide. Lisa's Tevlaran partner, Officer Nix, examined the device with his 4 eyes blinking rapidly. This is advanced technology, not something an amateur would use. First the poisoned whiskey, now this, Lisa said. You've made someone very unhappy, Jack. Ambassador Powell arrived looking worried. Are you all right, Carter? I came as soon as I heard. I'm fine, sir, Jack assured him. Caught it early enough. Powell looked at the security officers. Any ideas who's behind this? Not yet, Lisa said. But we're treating this as an assassination attempt. Jack will need protection until we figure this out. Could it be connected to what I saw last week? Jack asked. Zixtal meeting with the Dorvans? Powell's face paled. You saw that? Did they see you? I don't think so. I walked in, they stopped talking, and I left to find another room. Lisa and Powell exchanged concerned looks. The Dorvan Collective has been trying to undermine the Alliance for years, Powell explained. If Zixtal is working with them secretly, it would be treason, Lisa finished. And if they think you witnessed something important, Powell said to Jack, they might want to eliminate you before you report it. Jack shook his head. But I didn't report it. I didn't think it was important until now. They don't know that, Lisa said. From tonight, you're under official protection. You'll move to secure quarters, and you'll have an escort at all times. From a hidden location on the station, Mevlak watched the security feed with growing frustration. The human had survived 2 carefully planned assassination attempts. Now he would be under protection, making the job much more difficult. The Sylph. Assassin sent another secure message to Guildmaster Vexora. Target now under security protection. Request permission to withdraw. Vexora's response came quickly. Permission denied. Director Zixtal has increased the payment. Complete the contract by any means necessary. Mevlak stared at the message. The guild never forced an operative to continue a failed contract. That Vexora would insist meant the pressure from Zixtal was significant. Very well, Mevlak replied. I will proceed with direct methods. The next morning, Jack was moved to a secure room in the station's intersection. Lisa assigned 2 officers to guard him at all times. Jack felt like a prisoner rather than someone being protected. How long will this last? He asked Lisa when she came to check on him. Until we catch whoever's trying to kill you, she said. I have teams reviewing all station surveillance. We're looking for anyone showing unusual interest in you. That could take forever, Jack sighed. And I have work to do. Lisa shook her head. Your safety is more important than diplomatic meetings. What about Powell? Is he safe? He has his own security team. But you're the target. You saw something you weren't supposed to see. Jack paced the small room. So I just sit here and wait. For someone to try again? Lisa smiled slightly. That's the idea. Except this time we'll be ready. What neither Jack nor Lisa knew was that Mevlak had already infiltrated the security systems. The Sylph assassin had spent the night hacking into the station's central computer, carefully creating a new emergency protocol that would activate during the next shift change. Mevlak also studied the personnel files of the security officers, guarding Jack. One was a Zelian named Track, the other a human named Ryan Wells. The Zelian would be easier to impersonate. Their 4-eyed face coverings made perfect disguises. In the station's security center, Lisa reviewed surveillance footage with Officer Nix. There, Nix pointed at the screen. The day before the poison attempt, someone watching Carter in the food court. Lisa zoomed in on the figure. A slim alien with pale, almost translucent skin sat 3 tables away from Jack, pretending to eat but never taking a bite. Run facial recognition, Lisa ordered. The computer searched but found no match in the station's database. Whoever this is, they're not registered on the station, Lisa said. Or they've altered their appearance, Nick suggested. Alert all security teams. Send this image to Carter's guards. I want to know if this person shows up again. Mevlak, meanwhile, prepared for the final assassination attempt. The Sylph had created a perfect replica of Officer Track's uniform and facial covering. During the next shift change, when both guards would be replaced simultaneously, Mevlak would take Track's place. The real Track would be neutralized, not killed, as that might alert other security personnel, but sedated and hidden. Once in position, guarding Jack, Mevlak would have a brief window to complete the contract before the deception was discovered. The shift change was scheduled for 1800 hours when the station's day cycle began to dim. Mevlak tracked Officer Track's movements, waiting for the perfect moment to intercept him on his way to relieve the current guards. What Mevlak didn't know was that Lisa had changed the security protocols. The guards now reported in every 15 minutes and shift changes were staggered. One guard would be replaced at a time, never both together. At 1750 hours, Mevlak moved into position near the service corridor where Track would pass. The Sylph assassin had prepared a quick-acting sedative that worked on Zelian physiology. One touch was all it would take. Track appeared on schedule, walking quickly toward the secure area. Mevlak stepped out from an alcove disguised as a maintenance worker. "Excuse me, officer," Mevlak said. "Environmental issue in this section. Need to check your atmospheric reader." Track hesitated but then moved closer. "What's the problem?" "Oxygen fluctuations, similar to the diplomatic quarters incident. Just need a baseline reading." As Track extended his atmospheric reader, Mevlak reached out with a hand coated in sedative. One touch to the Zelian's exposed wrist would render him unconscious. But before contact could be made, a voice called out from behind. "Officer Track, wait up!" Mevlak froze as Lisa Simmons approached from the main corridor. "Changed your route?" Lisa asked Track. "You're not supposed to be in this section." Track looked confused. "I received updated orders to take this way." Lisa's hand moved to her weapon. No such orders were issued. Her eyes shifted to Mevlak, still disguised as a maintenance worker. "Station maintenance doesn't work this shift in this section." Mevlak realized the trap had been sprung. The Sylph assassin had two choices: flee or fight. Fighting a human, security officer, and a Zelian simultaneously was risky, but fleeing would mean abandoning the contract. In a fluid motion, Mevlak released a smoke canister and darted past the officers. Lisa fired her weapon, the energy pulse grazing Mevlak's shoulder. The pain was intense, but the Sylph kept moving. "Security alert," Lisa shouted into her communicator. "Possible assassin in Section 12B, moving toward Central Hub." Station alarms blared as Mevlak raced through the corridors. The contract had failed. Now survival was the priority. The Sylph assassin needed to reach the docking bay and escape before the station was locked down. Behind Mevlak, Lisa pursued with surprising speed. For a human, she moved with remarkable agility, gaining ground where the Sylph expected to pull ahead. This is why Deathworlders are dangerous, Mevlak thought. They don't give up. As Mevlak turned a corner, an unexpected sight appeared ahead. Jack Carter stood there, flanked by two security officers. "That's far enough," Jack said calmly. "We've been expecting you." Mevlak froze, assessing the situation. The corridor behind had Lisa Simmons approaching rapidly. Ahead stood Jack Carter with two guards. The Sylph assassin was trapped. "Surrender now," Jack said, his voice calm but firm. "There's nowhere to run." Mevlak's mind raced through options. Fighting 5 opponents would be nearly impossible. The ventilation shafts were too far away. The Sylph had one last resort, a small device that could temporarily disable the station's gravity systems in this section. "I am not your enemy," Mevlak said, hands moving slowly toward a hidden pocket. "I am merely fulfilling a contract." "By trying to kill me?" Jack asked. "That seems pretty enemy-like to me." Lisa arrived behind Mevlak, weapon drawn. "Don't move. Hands where I can see them." In one fluid motion, Mevlak activated the gravity disruptor. The effect was immediate. Everyone in the corridor began to float untethered from the floor. The security officers, unprepared for zero gravity, flailed helplessly. But to Mevlak's surprise, both Jack and Lisa reacted differently. They pushed off from nearby walls with practiced movements, controlling their direction despite the lack of gravity. "Space training," Jack explained, seeing Mevlak's confusion as he propelled himself forward. "Standard for all Earth diplomatic personnel. We spend months learning to function in zero gravity." Lisa used the ceiling to push herself toward Mevlak from behind. The assassin was caught between them, no longer having the advantage the gravity disruption should have provided. Mevlak attempted to dodge, but Jack grabbed the Sylph's arm. In the weightless environment, the momentum carried them both against a wall. Mevlak struck at Jack's face, but the human blocked the blow with surprising speed. "Humans have excellent reaction times," Jack said, grappling with the assassin. "Another gift from our dangerous homeworld." Lisa reached them, helping Jack restrain Mevlak. The other security officers had recovered enough to approach, and together, they secured the assassin with specialized restraints. The gravity returned a minute later as the device's effect wore off. Everyone dropped to the floor, the guards landing awkwardly while Jack and Lisa managed controlled landings. "Take our guest to the high-security detention area," Lisa ordered. "Full biometric monitoring and triple guards." As the officers led Mevlak away, Jack turned to Lisa. "How did you know where to find the assassin?" "We didn't," Lisa admitted. "But we knew they would try again, so we created a trap." "You used me as bait?" Jack asked, surprised. "Not exactly. That wasn't really you in the secure room. It was Officer Wells wearing a holographic disguise. We moved you to a different location and waited for the assassin to make their move." Jack shook his head, impressed. Clever. So what now? Now we find out who hired our friend and why they want you dead. In the station's detention center, Mevlak sat in a cell designed to hold dangerous prisoners. The walls could adjust their molecular structure to prevent any life form from passing through, regardless of their biological abilities. Lisa and Jack watched the prisoner through a one-way viewing panel. Sylph, Lisa said, explains how they moved around the station without being noticed. Their skin can change color and texture to blend with surroundings. Professional assassin? Jack asked. Almost. Certainly. The equipment was too advanced for an amateur. The question is, who hired them? Zixtal, Jack said confidently. It has to be. I saw him with the Dorvans when I wasn't supposed to. Lisa nodded. Probably. But we need proof. We need the assassin. To talk. Good luck with that. Professional assassins don't usually betray their clients. True. But we have something they don't expect. Lisa smiled slightly. Human interrogation techniques. Jack raised an eyebrow. Torture? That's not our way. Not torture, Lisa assured him. Psychology. Humans understand predator-prey dynamics better than most species. We evolved alongside some of the most dangerous hunters on our planet. We learned to think like them. Lisa entered the cell alone. Mevlak sat perfectly still, not acknowledging her presence. I know you won't tell me who hired you, Lisa said, sitting across from the assassin. Professional code and all that. I respect it. Mevlak remained silent. The thing is, Lisa continued, your client has abandoned you. They've already hired someone else to finish the job. A slight change in Mevlak's posture indicated interest, though the sylph still didn't speak. 3 more assassins arrived on the station this morning, Lisa said. This was a lie, but her voice and body language conveyed absolute certainty. Humans were remarkably good at deception when needed. Your guild doesn't waste time replacing failed operatives, do they? You're lying. Mevlak finally spoke. The guild would not send others while I still hold the contract. Lisa leaned forward. Are you sure? We intercepted a transmission from your guildmaster to a new team. Something about Mevlak's unexpected failure and terminating loose ends. This was another lie, but it struck home. Mevlak's skin rippled slightly, a sign of distress in sylphs. The guild does not operate that way, Mevlak insisted, but with less certainty. Usually, no, Lisa agreed. But this client is paying an enormous sum, triple the normal fee if I heard correctly, enough to make even your guildmaster bend the rules. Mevlak's eyes narrowed. How do you know the fee? Lisa smiled. We have our sources. The same ones that told us about the new team being sent to kill both you and Jack Carter. 2 targets for the price of 1. Efficient. She stood up. Think about it. I'll come back later to see if you want protection. We can offer that in exchange for information about your client. Lisa left the cell, joining Jack at the viewing panel. You're good at this, Jack said admiringly. Humans are natural psychological manipulators, Lisa explained. We needed to be to survive. Understanding what predators and prey think helped us become the apex species on Earth. Will it work? Maybe. Fear is a powerful motivator, even for professional assassins. Over the next few hours, they watched as Mevlak's composed demeanor gradually cracked. The sylph paced the cell, occasionally touching a hidden communicator that had been disabled but left in place by the security team. Finally, Mevlak requested to speak with Lisa again. If I provide information, the assassin said when Lisa returned, what guarantees do I have of protection? Full diplomatic immunity, Lisa offered, and secure passage to any neutral system of your choice. Mevlak considered this. The contract came from Director Zixtal of Alliance Intelligence. He witnessed the human observing a secret meeting with Dorvan representatives. The Dorvans are planning to attack 3 Alliance outposts next month. Zixtal is helping them in exchange for control of 2 mineral-rich systems. Lisa kept her expression neutral, though inside she was shocked by the scale of the betrayal. And the Guild accepted this contract? Against an Alliance diplomat? The Guild accepts any contract if the payment is sufficient, Mevlak said simply. Thank you for your cooperation, Lisa said, standing. I'll arrange for your protection immediately. Outside the cell, Jack waited eagerly. Well, did we get what we needed? More than we expected, Lisa replied. This goes beyond just you. Zixtal is helping the Dorvans plan a major attack. We need to inform Alliance High Command immediately. Jack's face paled. An attack? When? Next month. We still have time to stop it. Lisa activated her communicator. But first we need to secure Zixtal before he realizes his assassin has been captured. What they didn't know was that Zixtal had already been informed. The director had paid informants throughout the station, and news of Mevlak's capture had reached him within minutes. In his private quarters, Zixtal opened a secure channel to a hidden frequency. The SILF has failed. Implement contingency protocol. Send the backup team. Everyone connected to Carter must be eliminated immediately. On 3 separate ships approaching Nexus Station, elite assassins prepared their weapons. The hunt for Jack Carter was about to enter a new, more dangerous phase. Ambassador Powell stared at Jack and Lisa in disbelief as they explained what they had learned from Mevlak. The 3 humans sat in Powell's secure office, which had been swept for listening devices minutes earlier. Zixtal is working with the Mai. Dorvans? Powell shook his head. This is beyond serious. It's treason against the entire Alliance. We need to alert Alliance Command, Jack said. But we have to be careful. We don't know who else might be involved. Lisa nodded. Zixtal has already called in a backup team of assassins. My security. Contacts at the docking bay reported 3 suspicious ships requesting emergency docking procedures. How much time do we have? Powell asked. Not much. Maybe an hour before they clear customs. Lisa pulled up a station map on the display screen. We need to move. This office isn't secure enough if they have advanced tracking technology. Where can we go? Jack asked. Lisa pointed to a section of the station marked in red. The old maintenance level. It was designed for the original station builders who were much larger than current species. The corridors are rarely used now. Good thinking, Powell said. I'll contact Alliance Command using emergency protocols. You 2 get to the maintenance level and wait for backup. As they stood to leave, Lisa handed Jack a small weapon. Ever used a pulse pistol before? Jack shook his head. I'm a diplomat, not a soldier. Point and press, it's simple enough. Lisa checked her own weapon. Stay close to me. These new assassins will be expecting resistance. They moved quickly through the station's corridors, taking less traveled routes to avoid detection. Lisa used her security clearance to access service passageways not open to the public. How did you learn all these backways? Jack asked as they squeezed through a narrow maintenance tunnel. When I first arrived, I mapped every escape route and alternate path, Lisa explained. Standard procedure for human security officers. Because of Earth predators, Jack guessed. Lisa nodded. Humans evolved always knowing escape routes. Those who didn't got eaten. They reached a massive door marked with faded symbols. Lisa entered a code and the heavy door slid open with a grinding sound. Behind it lay a cavernous corridor designed for a species much larger than humans. We'll be safer here, Lisa said, closing the door behind them. These walls are triple reinforced and block most scanning technology. They continued deeper into the maintenance level, which had an eerie, abandoned feeling. The lighting was dim, powered by emergency systems that had been running for decades. Now we wait for Powell's signal, Lisa said, checking her communicator. Alliance forces should be on their way. Jack explored the large space, which resembled a warehouse with oversized equipment. What if the assassins find us before help arrives? Then we fight, Lisa said simply. That's the human way. Meanwhile, 3 figures moved through the station's main concourse. They looked like ordinary travelers, a Zentari merchant, a Burian diplomat, and an Aldarian trader. But underneath their disguises, they were guild assassins from the same elite unit. Their leader, Krevax, received a message through a subdermal implant. It was from Director Zixtal himself. Carter and the security officer have gone to ground, Zixtal's voice said in Krevax's mind. Security reports they accessed the old maintenance level. Eliminate them both plus anyone they've spoken to about the Dorvan operation. Understood, Krevax sub-vocalized, the implant picking up the tiny vibrations. What about the captured operative? Terminate. They know too much. The three assassins separated, taking different routes toward the maintenance level. Their plan was to surround the area and approach from multiple directions, cutting off any escape routes. In the station's detention center, 2 guards stood outside Mevlak's cell. They were Xelians, chosen because their 4 eyes made them difficult to surprise. Despite this advantage, they never saw the attack coming. A nearly invisible dart struck the first guard in the neck. He collapsed without a sound. The second guard reached for his weapon but fell just as silently a moment later. The 4th assassin, who had been waiting on the station before the others arrived, approached the cell. This was Ventar, a specialist in extraction and elimination operations. The assassin overrode the cell's security with a specialized device and entered. Mevlak looked up, recognizing the visitor immediately as a guild operative. You came to rescue me? Not exactly, Ventar said, raising a weapon. Mevlak understood immediately. The guild sent you to silence me. Nothing personal, just completing the contract. Ventar aimed the weapon, but Mevlak had spent the hours in detention. Preparing for this possibility, the Sylph assassin had fashioned a small weapon from materials in the cell, a skill all guild operatives learned during training. Mevlak threw the improvised knife with perfect accuracy, striking Ventar in the throat before the assassin could fire. As Ventar collapsed, Mevlak quickly took the fallen assassin's weapons and communication device. Very personal to me, Mevlak said to the dying guild operative. In the maintenance level, Lisa's communicator beeped with an encrypted message. From Powell. Alliance forces dispatched. ETA 40 minutes. Zixtal is aware and attempting to leave the station. Be careful. Lisa showed the message to Jack. 40 minutes is a long time if those assassins find us. Then we need to prepare, Jack said, looking around at the large equipment filling the space. This may be a maintenance level, but it's also full of potential weapons and traps. Lisa smiled, impressed. Now you're thinking like a Deathworlder. They worked quickly, using their environment to create advantages. Jack, despite being a diplomat, showed surprising knowledge of improvised defenses. My father was a survival instructor, he explained, as he rigged a large container to fall when a tripwire was triggered. He made sure I knew how to use my surroundings. Lisa set up early warning systems using small tools that would make noise if disturbed. She also identified multiple defensive positions and escape routes. They'll expect us to hide, she said. They won't expect us to fight back. Just as they finished their preparations, one of the warning systems triggered, a quiet but distinct sound of metal hitting metal. They're here, Lisa whispered, drawing her weapon. At least one of them. Jack moved to his assigned position, pulse pistol ready despite his nervousness. They had agreed to use the massive size of the maintenance level to their advantage, separating the assassins if possible. The first assassin, disguised as a Zentari merchant, moved silently through the dimly lit space. Despite exceptional training, the assassin triggered another of Lisa's warning systems. A thin wire stretched across a narrow gap. Lisa nodded to Jack, who activated their first trap. A massive container of industrial lubricant tipped over, spilling its contents across the floor. The assassin, caught by surprise, slipped and fell heavily. Before the assassin could recover, Lisa fired her pulse pistol. The energy blast hit the assassin's shoulder. Not a fatal shot, but enough to disable one arm. The sound of the pulse pistol alerted the other assassins. The second one, disguised as an Aldarian, approached from a different direction. This one moved more cautiously, avoiding the obvious paths. Jack waited until the assassin passed beneath an overhead pipe he had loosened. He pulled a makeshift lever, and the heavy pipe crashed down. The assassin dodged with incredible speed, but still took a glancing blow to the head. The third assassin, the leader Krevax, watched these events through a specialized viewing device. These humans were not behaving like typical prey. Instead of running and hiding, they were fighting back with unexpected ferocity and cunning. Krevax opened a channel to the other assassins. "They're using the environment against us. Regroup and approach together." The injured assassins retreated to join their leader. This gave Jack and Lisa time to move to a new position deeper in the maintenance level. "They're learning," Lisa whispered. "The direct approach isn't working." "So they'll try something else," Jack said. "What would you do if you were them?" Lisa thought for a moment. "I'd flood the area with some kind of gas or smoke, force us to move or reveal our positions." As if on cue, a hissing sound filled the air, and a thick mist began pouring from several points around them. "Tracking gas," Lisa said. "It will make us visible to their specialized equipment." "What do we do?" Jack asked. Lisa grinned. "We use it against them. Humans are full of surprises." She quickly explained her plan. Jack nodded and began moving to carry out his part. As the assassins advanced through the mist, their viewing devices clearly showed 2 human heat signatures moving deeper into the maintenance level. "We have them," Krevax said. "No more games. Kill on sight." The 3 assassins moved forward confidently, weapons ready. But as they approached the heat signatures, they realized something was wrong. The signatures weren't moving naturally. Too late, Krevax recognized the trap. "It's a decoy." The heat signatures were coming from pieces of equipment Lisa had activated to mimic human body temperatures. And while the assassins were focused on the decoys, the real humans had circled behind them. Lisa fired first, taking down one assassin with a precise shot. Jack fired a moment later, his shot less accurate but still hitting the second assassin in the leg. Krevax spun around with incredible speed, firing back. The energy blast grazed Lisa's arm, burning through her uniform. Jack tackled the lead assassin, his larger human frame knocking them both to the ground.